Welcome. The direct path number 9. Piercing the veil in the dream. Again, check out the other direct path videos on our channel. Notice how we are sharing all of these different faces, paths, pit stops to the one end. And you get to draw from those which ones most resonate with you and implement them in your self/God realization. And furthermore, in your realization of even that as an illusion/dream, which we will unpack here in direct path number 9. So, intention, pierce the veil in the dream. So, the oceanic analogy has been extremely profound throughout my journey and many others, so we'll go ahead and play with it here. The most common way to understand the quote individual that melts into the ocean is the drop that becomes the ocean. So when you hear people on their spiritual journeys, when they are, again, would like to make a preface with the non-dual understanding that there is no lack. Everything's already perfect. There's nothing to seek. The diamond necklace is already around your neck. It just remains for you to recognize it. And that there is no lack. It's all absolutely perfect. There's no seeking to be done. There's no finding to be done. Yet again, in a perspective of true simultaneity, we recognize that there is egoic consciousness, and that egoic consciousness is currently seeking externally for happiness, which it's hitting a breaking point, and then it ends up turning inward to recognize the well of honey that is under the rock, just like the parable of the prodigal son. So simultaneously, there is something that is being done. This is the God/self-realization portion. When the individual melts into the oneness, you hear about this a lot on people's spiritual journeys when they talk about, oh, I'm one with everything. They talk about that unity or cosmic consciousness. From a science perspective, they say we're all made of stardust. From a planetary perspective, they recognize that we are one of 10 million species on the planet. They recognize that they are one of 8 billion humans on the planet that are all like cells in a superorganism. So there's many scientific people that are even starting to understand that they can't even take a breath of air, which they take 20,000 times a day, without summoning the phytoplankton and trees that are undergoing photosynthesis to give them that O2 to inhale. So even the people that are being like, everything's interconnected, it's still an egoic consciousness that is saying those things, but it's beginning to break into the melting into the oneness. And so this is basically the phase of the spiritual journey, which is the most important thing. The most important thing is your spiritual journey, your seeking your self/God realization, which is then actually going to lead even further to the recognition that even that is in itself also a dream. So the progress for people to go from drop to ocean is huge. Okay? So that's the first one. Drop becomes ocean. So that's already beginning to pierce the veil a little bit. So you're no longer as much this egoic, contracted, separate entity, but your sugar cube has began to dissolve into the oceanic infinitude. Now, when you fully dissolve the ego, you recognize more and more that you are the ocean that is experiencing the waves. Another analogy that we've been using a lot on the program is you are this blank paper that is the observer, that is the witness that we all share, that is the I am/self, that is the pupil, the eye of God, or the self that we all share. So 8 billion, in a sense, set of eyes of one God, of the one source, of the one infinite creator. And that we recognize the coloration, aka the words. So meaning the ocean, which is the blank paper, recognizes the waves, which is the words on the paper. So now in a sense, you've created the juxtaposition for yourself where you recognize more and more that, oh, I am this blank paper, this oceanicness that is experiencing this coloration, these waves, and the waves are your emotions, thoughts, feelings, objects, beliefs, experiences, perceptions, sensations, taste, touch, feel, sense, smell. And so we recognize that those are just waves of coloration onto the I am self ocean. And we begin more and more over time surfing on the crest, in the eternal now, in that presence. Simply this. Now. This happening now. And we understand more and more that we're not affiliating ourselves as much with the coloration in the sense of wanting it to be different, having craving or having aversion, but rather we are just the experiencer of the wave. Now, typically, this process of becoming more and more in tune with riding on the crest and recognizing that we are the ocean experiencing the waves usually leads us to something like recognizing the Tantric path, where we weave our realizations into the social fabric, or otherwise known as Sahaja Samadhi. Now, that's a very natural, effortless action, wu-wei experience that ends up channeling through you. Because as you recognize that our being is shared, even though we're going to unpack here that it's a dream or an illusion, at the same time, you still channel the absolute highest morality effortlessly out in that Tantric path, Sahaja Samadhi. And then we realize that even above the I am or the self is the complete declination. You decline the fact that you are even an observer or a witness. And you go even further into the realization that even that which appears to be the observer of the experiences, even that which appears to be the ocean experiencing the coloration of the waves, in itself is an illusion, in itself is a dream. And that's what these are. That's what the non-dual teaching is. This is already perfect. This is already whole. This is already indescribable perfection. It is already unconditionally free and unconditionally loving. It remains for you to recognize that it is. But that is our true nature. That is the true nature of non-duality. Just formlessness, absolute formlessness. That is agentless and that is attributeless and perfect. That is in an illusion, in a dreamlike way, being expressed as these realities where there is an exploration. These are some of the best words that we've been able to identify so far. It's an exploration. It's a play. And even then, there is no meaning to it. There's no meaning to it. As much as you want to say that it's exploring infinity as a meaning, that still has no meaning. Meaning would mean that there is an end goal, that we must finish exploring infinity. There is no end goal. It just is. It just is this. Simply appearing. It's just this. And so, yes, we recognize even the witness, even the experiences are a dream. We recognize that we shift from something, as in we shift from, this is all form. I am an egoic separate entity in some random world of form. We shift from that to literally nothing. No thing. So we recognize formlessness. We recognize agentlessness. We recognize our own illusion of our own me-ness. Even that one is so hard for the ego to let go of. And it's even hard for the I am/self to let go of, because we want so badly for there to be meaning. We want so badly for there to be purpose. We want so badly for there to be some sort of an agent that is experiencing something that has meaning, that has purpose. But there is none of that. There's no agent. There's no experiencing. There's no meaning. There's no purpose. Now, true simultaneity, this does not mean to undergo a process after having these pointed out to you where there's a complete lethargy and apathy. That's not the Tantric path. That's not the middle way. That's not Sahaja Samadhi. The non-dual tradition is that you make these profound realizations of the illusion, of the dream, yet you have a childlike peace, a childlike bliss, an awe, a wonder. As you do your daily activities, you stay in the eternal present. You stay in the absolute formlessness as you do your daily activities. When somebody says Atlas, that they need you to bring the microphone to them at 3 p.m. So they give you a name, they give you a form, and they give you a time. You respond properly. Now, if you want to play a little bit and say that there is no Atlas, there is no microphone, and time does not exist, you can definitely play like that. And it's hilarious to play like that, because then you can have other people slowly recognize more and more that, because they may have not recognized that. They may have literally just been a contracted, egoic, separate entity in a random physical world. So again, the intention is simply to pierce the veil in the dream. So again, in true simultaneity, there is both absolutely infinite indescribable perfection already, unconditionally free. Yet at the same time, there is a seeking impulse, and that's to discover the diamond necklace that is already around your neck. But that recognition has a lot to do with these steps, in a sense, in terms of the drop that melts into the ocean, and also and that's like the egoic contracted entity that melts into the oceanic infinitude, which then recognizes itself as the observer or the witness or the I am or the self that is experiencing the waves. Or if you want to use the analogy of the sky, you are the sky experiencing the clouds, or you are the paper experiencing the words, or you are the screen experiencing the images. And that even there we ride the crest more and more in the now, better and better. And we do that tantric path of Sahaja Samadhi, of weaving our enlightened realizations into the social fabric. And yet, even then, we come to the realization that even the I am, even the self, even the witness, even the observer itself is an illusion, is a dream. Even the experiences themselves are a dream. They are an illusion. They are appearances. And that is really when you hit the peak. That's when you hit the peak of the mountaintop. So if you want to think about it, it's like the ego, and we're working on making visuals for this right now. The ego is at the base, the sea level of the mountain. And then the paths are the process of seeking. Finding is the process of reaching the snow at the top, which is in many ways piercing the veil to that I am or that self that we were talking about here, where you realize you're the ocean experiencing the waves. And then the absolute pinnacle itself is the recognition that there are no ocean, there is no ocean, there is no waves. There is no ocean, there are no waves. And true simultaneity is your ability to navigate all of that. So you can navigate the state where there's no ocean, there's no waves, not a problem. You can also navigate the state of when you're, checking out at the grocery store and you're being asked a question. You don't just say, "Oh, this is all an illusion, this is all a dream." No, you properly check out at the grocery store and whatnot. That's what true simultaneity is. And that's what piercing the veil in the dream is. Use this oceanic analogy. I hope it brought you value. Again, the drop becomes the ocean. The ocean experiences the waves, and then there are no waves and there is no ocean. Great. Let me know in the comments where you're at in your journey. Would love to hear from you. And like the video, subscribe if you haven't, share the video with people that you think would find this valuable. It's already indescribably perfect. It is already whole. It is already completely, unconditionally free and loving. That is the essence. It's agentless. It's attributeless. It's metaphysical zero. Childlike wonder, bliss, peace, play. awe. Thank you.